Solicitor General of India to the dais. May I request Mr. Bibhu Shankar Mishra to present a sapling to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India. May I request Mr. Alin Nisani to present a sapling to Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, Judge Supreme Court of India. May I request Mr. Amren Singh to present a sapling to Mr. Tushar Mehta, learned Solicitor General of India. May I request Mr. Upendra Mishra to present a sapling to Mrs. Lalit Mohani Bhat, wife of Honorable Mr. Justice Ravindra Bhat, Judge Supreme Court of India. Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, Judge Supreme Court of India. His wife Mrs. Lalit Mohani Bhat. His son Mr. Anirudh Bhat. Mrs. Savitri Bhat. Mr. Darshan Bhat. Mrs. Garima Bhat. Ms. Ananya Bhat. Mr. Prateet Haris. Mr. Raghu Subramanian. Ms. Himlata Raghu. Ms. Bharti and his staff. Honorable Judges of Supreme Court of India, and retired Judges of Supreme Court of India, Honorable Justice Muralidhar, Honorable Judges of High Courts, Mr. Adis Agrawala, President SCBA, Mr. Tushar Mehta, learned Solicitor General of India, Mr. Balbir Singh, Additional Solicitor General, learned Law Officers, Mr. P.H. Parikh, Mr. Rakesh Kumar Khanna, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Ms. Priya Hingorani, Mr. Ardindu Mauli Kumar Prasad, Mr. Rahul Kaushik, Mr. Manoj Mishra, President Skora, Mr. Sanyasis Mukherjee, Vice President Skora, Mr. Devbrat, Secretary Skora, Mr. Atul Kurherkar, learned Secretary General, Mr. Mahesh Patankar and other registrars, senior members and members of the bar. Very good evening to all of you. Today we have gathered here to bid farewell to Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat. It is my privilege to welcome your Lordship. Your Lordship is recognized for his pleasant yet forthright and upfront personality. He is also an outstanding and hard-working judge, known for patiently hearing everyone. The legal community deeply admires and respects him. I would like to begin with a quote from Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat. We gained our freedom at a great cost. Every Indian, therefore, has a duty to use their liberties to constantly question the actions of those in power, because democracy provides no tickets for free meals. It is up to us to assert and safeguard liberty and not become complacent about any encroachment. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat was born on 21st of October 1958 in Mysore, Karnataka. Sir, tomorrow is your birthday. Sir, a very happy birthday in advance. Lordship is an alumnus of Kendriya Vidyalaya, Faridabad, an Hindu college where he did BA Honours in English, and he attained his Bachelor's of Law from CLC, Delhi University in 1982. He enrolled as an advocate with Delhi Bar Council in 1982 and practiced before the Supreme Court, where he was enrolled as an advocate on record in 1989. It is our great pleasure to mention that Your Lordship has also been a member of the Supreme Court Bar Association since 1986. His practice included a diverse range of litigation in the field of public and constitutional law, service and labor law, indirect taxation, banking, consumer law, and educational law. He worked as a government counsel for the state of UP in Supreme Court and also served as counsel for the Union of India. Additionally, he worked as a special counsel on behalf of the state of Punjab in Ravi Vyas Water Disputes Tribunal in 1986 to 1998. On 16th of July 2004, he was elevated as an additional judge of Delhi High Court and became a permanent judge on 20th February 2006. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat led India's first High Court, labeled E-Court, Delhi High Court. He showed a keen interest in the E-Court project and always advocated for re-engineering the legal system to make it technologically advanced. He was appointed as the Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court on 5th of May 2019. Finally, he was elevated as a Judge Supreme Court of India on 23rd of September 2019. Lordship has authored more than 122 judgments and has been part of more than 433 benches. Some of the famous cases which has been dealt by Lordship are verdict on same-sex marriage, Prithviraj Chauhan versus Union of India, Ram Babu Singh Thakur versus Sunil Arora, EWS reservation case, Patricia Mukim versus State of Meghalaya, Manoj versus State of MP, Yogendra Prasad Mandal versus State of Bihar, and many such cases. With this, may I request Mr. Tushar Mehta, London Solicitor General of India, to kindly deliver his address.
Honorable Justice Kaul Sahab, Honorable Justice Ravindra Bhat Sahab, the Honorable Judges, my Lord Justice Ramasubramaniam, Justice Rastogi Sahab, Madam Lalit Mohini Bhat, Madam Mrs. Kaul, family members of Justice Bhat who are present here, and except Mrs. Bhat and his son, they are non-lawyers. I am like a 12th man who is filling in on behalf of the Attorney General of India. So the learned attorney has a separate message which, of course, my learned friend would read out. So I will not trouble you for a longer period. Friends, as I mentioned in the morning, there are several judges who come to this court and they retire because the date of retirement is always fixed. It's not a matter whether the judge gets 4 years or 7 years or more as a tenure, but what happens during that tenure which matters, and that decides how the bar would remember him. A judge decides throughout his career, but the bar takes its decision on the day when a judge retires, and our giving a standing ovation is the judgment of the bar. Friends, honorable judges, we have learned judges, intellectual giants, laying down the law in various fields, which binds the entire nation, and there are several judgments which are cited in other jurisdictions of the world. And India can boast to be one of the finest judicial system where other judiciary also takes inspiration from. It's not a question whether Justice Ravindra Bhat Sahab has authored 122 judgments, because that is a mere statistics. According to me and my limited understanding, a judgment can be into 3 categories. It can be classified into 3 categories. A, judgment which decides the list between A and B. C, D and the rest of the world is not concerned. 2, judgment which lays down the law for the nation, and the country is bound by that judgment. And C, the judgment for which generations to come remain indebted to the judge. And my Lord Justice Bhat has authored several judgments for which generations to come will remain indebted to him. This compliment is compliment coming from the bottom of my heart. Unfortunately, most of the family members of Justice Bhat are not lawyers, except, as I said, Lalit Mohini ji and Anirudh, his son. And therefore, they would never be able to know what intellectual giant is in their family and what is their gain today and what is the loss of the institution today. They would never be able to realize that the institution is losing an intellectual giant and it's entirely your gain. Friends, Justice Bhat has pivoted several things, including the e-revolution which was started in his court in Delhi High Court, where we used to appear. And that journey continued and will continue forever. I would also divulge on behalf of all of us one more secret. As my Lord Justice Kaul mentioned in the morning, that the memory of Justice Bhat with regard to the judgments and jurisprudence is so sharp that he has virtually every judgment by heart. The secret is this. Many a times, most lawyers would take up the matters listed before Justice Bhat at the end of the conferences, and sometimes even our colleagues would say, "Sir, we have not found out the judgments, Justice Bhat would be knowing about it." So literally we were relying upon Justice Bhat to deliver the justice, even in some cases without our assistance. Friends, on behalf of the central government, on behalf of the learned Attorney General, and on my behalf, I wish His Lordship a very healthy and fulfilling life, the third inning hereafter, a very satisfying career in whatever he does. It was mentioned by my colleague, Mr. Balbir Singh, in the morning that to-do list of Justice Bhat is always longer than his list for the next day. So in the morning, on Monday, he will not miss the list. He might miss the torture which we have imposed upon him since last about 4.5 years. But I can assure that if permitted, we would like to continue that torture once in a while. I have said in the morning, and I repeat that we would not miss Justice Bhat because we would always remember him whenever we find out any subject, any judgment, any new point, any new dimension of jurisprudence. We will come across Justice Bhatt's intellect, and therefore he would never be missed. He would always remain with us, and for any guidance, be it professional or personal, I'm sure Justice Bhat would always be available. I am thankful to the President of the Bar Association and the office bearers to giving me this opportunity. It's a rare opportunity for me personally to bid a farewell to one of the finest judges of our court, and it was only by sheer coincidence that the learned AG is not here, and I got this opportunity to bid farewell to one of my favorite judges. I wish him all the good luck and satisfying life ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request Dr. Adis Agrawala, President SCBA, to kindly deliver his address.
Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Senior Judge of Supreme Court of India, Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat and his family members, other Honorable Judges of Supreme Court, Mr. Justice Sanjeev Khanna ji, Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai ji, Mr. Justice Surya Kant ji, Mr. Justice Anuruddha Bose Sahib, Mr. Justice Harikesh Roy, Mr. Justice A.S. Oka, Mr. Justice Miss Justice Hema Kohli, Miss Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Miss Justice Bela Trivedi, Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Narasimha, Honorable Mr. Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia, Honorable Mr. Justice Pankaj Mittal, Honorable Mr. Justice P.V. Sanjay Kumar, Honorable Mr. Justice Ehsanuddin Amanullah, Honorable Mr. Justice Rajesh Bindal ji, Honorable Mr. Justice K.V. Viswanathan, and our former judges of Supreme Court, Honorable Mr. Justice V. Rama Subramaniam and Justice Ajay Rastogi, and our former colleague, and now again he has become our colleague and who rose up to the position of Chief Justice of Odisha High Court, Mr. Justice S. Muralidhar, and Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, Additional Solicitor General for India, Mr. Vikramjit Banerjee and Mr. Balbir Singh ji, Mr. Rohit Pandey, Honorary Secretary, Mr. Manish Kumar Dubey, Joint Secretary, Ms. Yugandhar Pawar Jha, Treasurer, and Mr. Amrendra Kumar Singh, Joint Treasurer of Supreme Court Bar Association, and other office bearers of Supreme Court Bar Association and other distinguished members of Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. P.H. Parikh, our former President of Supreme Court Bar Association, other senior designated advocates, and brothers and sisters in the legal profession. We have gathered here to say goodbye to one of the finest judges of the Supreme Court who has contributed immensely to the growth of law by his path-breaking judgments. These judgments show the mastery of justice, but over the variety of subjects. But stand out is that Justice Bhat never hesitated in adopting an unconventional line of reasoning. The common thread running through his decisions is that he tries to find out the purpose for which a law was formulated and then tries to give an interpretation by which the law is able to fulfill that objective. This is the primary duty of the judge, where he helps the legislature achieve the goal it had in mind when it was framing a law. Also, Mr. Justice Bhat is one of those very few judges who understands the impact of his decisions. When he decides, he keeps in mind not only the interest of those who are fighting the legal battle, but also the interest of those who are not representative. The finest example of this was the case of Ross versus Sipla. This was a case heard by His Lordship when he was a judge of Delhi High Court. It was relating to patent infringement. A multinational company which was holding the patent had sued another company and prayed for interim injunction to restrain the Indian company from manufacturing the drug. Normally, a judge would see it as a dispute between the two private entities and decide the dispute on the basis of patent law. But Mr. Justice Bhat rejected the relief on the ground that the grant of injunction will make it difficult for the public to get the medicines at an affordable cost. This was a landmark decision where public interest was introduced as a relevant factor in an IPR dispute. Mr. Justice Bhat delivered many other judgments on intellectual property laws too. There is another case which shows Justice Bhat to be bold, who decides only as per his conscience. This was relating to the Right to Information Act. He was called upon to decide whether the office of the Chief Justice of India is amenable to the Right of Information Act. He decided that indeed the said office had no escape from the ITI Act. This shows that it did not matter to the judge that his decisions could annoy someone and could cost him a career advancement. This is how a judge should be always fearless. There was another case where Mr. Justice Bhat made a mark early on as a judge. This was the case of Avneet versus Prashant Chaudhary, where he protected the right to residence of a married woman in a house which is not owned by her husband. This judgment came to the aid of many women in distress who were staying in matrimonial homes owned by her parents-in-laws. Mr. Justice Bhat was identified and chosen for the elevation to the Supreme Court because of his outstanding work. He continued to shine and inspire others with his remarkable judgments. We all have read the well-reasoned judgments in the Supreme case. Mr. Justice Bhat has dealt with and given opinions on a range of subjects, including the constitutional law, service laws, tax laws, and consumer laws. He still made time and decided a large number of criminal appeals. Mr. Justice Bhat consistently upheld and protected the right to free speech. He battled for underprivileged sections of the society, for under-trial prisoners, and for victims of sexual violence. On the judicial side, Mr. Justice Bhat has made a mark for himself for his fearless and bold decision-making. All his judgment shows that he is guided only by the requirements of justice, and to achieve this goal, he will create his own path. When Mr. Justice was the chairman of the Building Committee of Delhi High Court, he got the most advanced and futuristic auditorium constructed, which helped in reducing the dependence of Delhi High Court on outside institutions for auditorium space. He is a soft-spoken judge, and I have never seen him showing anger. For him, it makes no difference whether the lawyer arguing before him is a senior advocate or a new entrant in the profession. The outcome of the case would be the same. My Lord, you will continue to inspire us. You are the gold standard which every young judge must aspire to achieve. We wish you all the very best for your future endeavor. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, so many honorable judges here in Supreme Court bench are from CLC, Delhi University. But on the dais, we have two batchmates sitting here who started journey together from college to apex court and fulfilling their duties to serve justice for the people. Now may I request Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, to kindly deliver his address.
Honorable Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, family members of Justice Bhat, Lalit Moini Bhat, his lovely wife, and Anirudh, my brother and sister judges, current and former, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General, Dr. Adish Agarwala, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, Mr. Rohit Pandey, other office bearers of the Supreme Court Bar Association, members of the bar, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. We bid farewell today to my classmate and friend, Justice Ravindra Bhat, who has made a significant contribution to law, to this and to other courts. Justice Sripati Ravindra Bhat was elevated as a judge of the court in 2019. As my brother and sister judges would agree, it has been our distinct pleasure to share the bench with Justice Bhat and to benefit from his presence at the Supreme Court. My association with Justice Bhat, however, goes back to our law faculty days, where I had the good fortune of completing my legal education alongside him. Looking at Justice Bhat's illustrious journey as a lawyer and then as a judge, it is quite difficult to choose the finest strands of his time on the bar and the bench and weave them into a farewell address that does justice to his journey from being an advocate on record to a judge of the High Court of the land, to the Chief Justice and to this court. But I'm going to venture an attempt. In one of his lectures, Justice Bhat recollected how we were oblivious to the idea of the Constitution as children, and it was only during our college days that most of us were introduced to the Constitution of India. Justice Bhat brought his first copy after he saw the indomitable Mr. Nani Palkiwala argue the Minerva Mills case. Justice Bhat was so moved that he got his hands on his very first copy of the Constitution of India the very next day. It is safe to say that Justice Bhat shared then, as much as he does now, a profound reverence for this document that grounds our constitutional democracy. It is not surprising that he found himself in the dedicated service of this document for about 4 decades in various capacities. During his career as a lawyer and as an advocate on record, he seamlessly traversed a wide range of practice areas, including public law, employment law, commercial law, and indirect tax disputes, to name a few. He answered the call of duty and hung his robes as a lawyer to step into the shoes of the judge of the Delhi High Court in 2004. As a judge of the Delhi High Court, then as Chief Justice of the Rajasthan High Court, Justice Bhat strived to ensure justice through his verdicts, as also by improving the administration of justice. His tenure as a judge is dotted with many significant firsts. It may seem routine now, but not long ago, the courts, even the constitutional courts, in commercial epicenters, were heavily resilient on archaic models of functioning, and the images of litigants lugging suitcases to courts were common. This was, of course, long before the COVID-19 jolted us out of our conventions. Ahead of his time, in every sense of the phrase, Justice Bhat presided over the country's first paperless e-court at Delhi High Court in 2009. He penned many notable judicial pronouncements touching the lives of the common citizen. He refused a temporary injunction in a patent infringement dispute on the ground of public interest, which he believed was better served by allowing greater access to the life-saving generic drug. He struck down a notification limiting the manufacture and use of an essential drug, mostly used by pregnant women. Long before the 9 judges bench of this court in Puttaswamy recognized the right to privacy as a fundamental right, Justice Bhat recognized the right to privacy of a woman in a matrimonial home. He held that a policy that compels a woman to choose between motherhood and promotion is discriminatory. Reading Article 21 beyond the negative obligation to include a positive obligations towards women, he reiterated that pregnancy cannot be termed as a departure from normal employees' conditions. Notably, he held that the office of the Chief Justice of India is a public authority amenable to the RTI Act. He underlined that the role of the judge in a pluralist society is that of an equalizer. Rights without a remedy are otiose. The most elaborate constitutional theories evaporate unless they crystallize into tangible rights. In 2009, Justice Bhat had echoed a similar sentiment when he held that it is the judge's duty to not decide cases by dictates of popularly held notions of right and wrong. He held that if a judge were to follow transient popular notions of justice, the guarantees of individual freedom entrenched in the Constitution would be rendered meaningless. The judgment was widely celebrated as a testament to his commitment to the public function as a judge. His efforts to ensure that trials are expedited and prolonged incarceration is frowned upon is for everyone to see. Justice Bhat has time again demanded for stringent laws needed to address fake news and hate speech on social media. In one of the conferences, he remarked that the ease of dissemination has become a double-edged sword, resulting in indirect challenges undreamt of. Therefore, even though information has now become readily accessible, it is more prone to misuse as circulation of the fake news is at an all-time high. At the Supreme Court, Justice Bhatt's contribution includes various decisions on criminal procedures and criminology. He is a part of the bench that allowed Project 39A to access the death row convict. He deprecated in no uncertain terms the practice of delaying the release of inmates who have been granted bail. It is common for rights of citizens to slip through cracks of procedures, careless oversight, or poor prioritization of causes. It takes a sensitive eye, a degree of consciousness about civil liberties, and a will to go beyond judging to do justice where it is most necessary. At the Supreme Court, Justice Bhat has also made significant contributions on the administrative side. Very recently, the Supreme Court Committee on Accessibility, chaired by Justice Bhat, released its audit report on the physical and functional access to the Supreme Court to persons with disabilities. It was first of its kind. The committee has painstakingly collected inputs from a wide range of stakeholders and employed various research techniques to ensure greater accessibility of the court premises for women, persons with disabilities, HIV-positive persons, and senior citizens. As the chairman of the Supreme Court Committee on Juvenile Justice and Child Welfare, Justice Bhat has time and again voiced his opinions of the dismal state of affairs of the child care homes and how the juvenile justice systems are working below their strength. In one of the recent events, he remarked how the vacancies in the child care home were paralyzing the system. His consistent emphasis on need to operate these child welfare committees with full strength or meet the appropriate quorum is remarkable and shows his concern for the future leaders of this country. He has always believed a multi-stakeholders approach is required to achieve the objective of the Juvenile Justice Act. His dedication in inviting attention and oversight to area related to protection of children in the country is noteworthy. I believe Justice Bhat has left the court better than he found them. For that, and for everything we have learned from him, we are very grateful. I wish him all the very best, more time with Moini, play more golf, listen to more music, and travel more places. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now, may I request Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, Judge Supreme Court of India, to kindly deliver his address.
Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, my dear sister and brother colleagues on the bench, the Solicitor General for India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Mr. Adish Agarwal, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Pandey, Secretary, Supreme Court Bar Association, members of the Supreme Court Bar Association Executive, Additional Solicitors General, law officers of the Union and the State, President and office bearers of the Supreme Court, Advocates on Record Association, former colleagues of mine on this court, some of whom are present here, senior counsel, members of the SCBA, officials of the registry, ladies and gentlemen. I count myself to be amongst one of the most lucky persons to have ended my career here as a member of the bench of the highest court in the country. That I was appointed from amongst the many colleagues to a seat in the highest court of the most popular country is an undreamt honor and privilege for which I would be deeply grateful always. It is by happy chance that we are 4 classmates from the same batch. Of course, many of you have been told of this. The present Chief Justice, Justice Kaul, me and Justice Rishikesh Roy, who's sitting there. I've also had a rare good fortune, perhaps one of the very, very few instances, of 2 people from the same chamber being part of the same bench. Justice Vishwanathan and I were colleagues in the chamber of Mr. Vaidyanathan, although for a brief while of 2 years. I will not bore you with the details of my life, except to say that my parents ensured that I and my siblings had happy childhood memories. My father belonged to a village in Kerala, picturesquely set amongst Western Ghats, which till I was 22 years saw no electricity or tarred roads. He who served in the central government taught us by example the qualities of integrity, independence, love for perfection, and a passion to learn. My mother, who is present here, and I count myself to be one of the most fortunate people. My mother is perhaps the most inspiring figure in my life, and I am blessed to see her here. Indeed, that she has witnessed all the high points in my career. She taught me, above all, the value of self-respect, courage to face the world, and has been my pillar of strength at every setback in my life, especially those affecting my health, which have been many. I had a good fortune of having had a lovely and caring sister who, though younger, taught me aesthetics and appreciation of art. We mourn her tragic death at the age of 44. The void of her absence remains. Completing my graduation in honors in literature, I joined the Campus Law Center. Delhi. I little realized that so many of my classmates would join me on the bench. After graduating, I joined Mr. K.N. Bhat, an active and successful practitioner of this court, and later Mr. Vaidyanathan. From both, I learned that practice of law meant constant self-growth and a quest for perfection. My second senior, Vaidyanathan, taught me by example one invaluable lesson, that it is not learning or knowledge which is needed. It is the practical solution to any problem and one's ability to see clearly the solutions that the law can afford. The other precept that I learned from him was the ability to think laterally, to go outside the frame, as it were. My days at the bar were exhilarating. I witnessed, I could say, the 2 of us, I and Murli, and later Vishwanathan and Justice Narasimha, witnessed the growth of constitutional law and were a part of as counsel in important constitution bench cases like Chandrakumar, Unni Krishnan, TMA Pi Foundation, the Bhopal gas tragedy case, etc. I also witnessed turning points in legal history like the decision in Antule, the second judge's case, Indira Sani, Rupa Hurra, and so on. These engagements and witnessing gave me the opportunity to interact with giants like the late Ashok Sen, Fali Nariman, the late Sori Sorabji, Mr. Parasaran, who I'm grateful because he did the rare honor of acknowledging my arguments in open court as an opposing counsel before 11 judges in the TMA Pi Foundation case. The late Mr. P.P. Rao, Mr. Andharujina, and not the least, Mr. K.K. Venugopal. This rubbing shoulders with giants of the fraternity and their acknowledgement of me was amongst my best achievements. It enriched me as a lawyer. I also had the good fortune of witnessing some of the best exemplars in action, Justices Bhagwati, Venkatramaya, Venkatachalaya, Chinnappa Reddy, A.P. Sen, and Jeevan Reddy. Their approach and clarity of thought, as well as how they articulated them in their judgments, set an example. The life of judges is hard, not upon the incumbent, but upon their families. The sacrifices that they have to put up with are many. I have lost many opportunities of watching my only son Anirudh grow. To him, I must acknowledge my failing. But I am confident that we parents have instilled values that will ensure him to lead a principled life. To my wife Mohini, I acknowledge a huge debt of gratitude for being beside me, cheering me up and supporting me, and also shouldering the heaviest burden of managing me, my household, and her career. Whatever success I have experienced would not have been possible but for her unfailing support and love. And she has kept me grounded, shooting down any flights of fancy I might have dreamt of. Both my wife and my son have shown that life should not be taken seriously and everyone deserves to relax and take a break. I have a caring and extremely wise younger brother who is present here, who by his deeds and work inspires me. He and my mother are spiritual in the true sense of the term. My sister-in-law Garima and my niece Ananya are equally caring and loving. In my view, a person is not rich because of the material wealth alone. It is the love and care that he secures from his family. My good fortune extends to my uncles and cousins and my wife's family who are present here. If that is the definition of wealth, I am a billionaire. And to add to it are my friends, many of whom are at the bar and with whom I look forward to being restored, freed from the constraints of office, who have kept faith with me all this while, often being my critics and giving invaluable feedback. Apart from my family, I have my former juniors at the bar, Naveen Nath, who is now a senior counsel, and Hetu Arora, a senior AOR, who are a constant support and again who are present here. I have an extended family of loving, loyal and caring former law researchers and those who are present. And many of them are present here and some have taken the trouble of traveling from different places. The special quality of this association is that it is truly intergenerational. They have shared every important occasion in my life, whether it's my birthday or my surgery or anything else, and they have enriched my knowledge and understanding of contemporary legal thinking. In more senses of the term, they are assimilated and part of my own family. The years as a judge of the Delhi High Court, my brief stint as the Chief Justice of Rajasthan, and now these last 4 years in the Supreme Court have been very rewarding and fulfilling. I have picked up familiarity with subjects I never expected to: intellectual property, criminal law, taxation, technology, regulatory amongst law, amongst others. I believe it is my grounding as a member of this bar which defined my approach to these subjects. I have learned some invaluable lessons which I hope the younger members of the bar will profit by. 1. Never give up the quest for knowledge and self-improvement. 2. Upgrade your skills. This is necessary and vital given the exponential growth of technology. 3. Looking beyond you, your family and their needs. There is far too much to be done here, and develop compassion. And you have to develop compassion towards your fellow human beings. Empathy and compassion are uniquely human and will aid your spiritual growth and contentment much more than the quest of material gain. This is not to say that you should shun wealth. It is to say that let the world not begin with me, mine, and ours only. I have witnessed unimaginable examples of silent support and generosity by people whom one would not normally expect to be so charitable. And if I may add, many of them are amongst members of the bar who are very successful. I would also say, like in the lyrics of that great classic Circle of Life, you should never take more than you can give. There are any number of people who deserve your compassion, generosity, and support. neglected children, victims of trafficking, elderly people needing care, unemployed rural persons, those with disability, those lacking financial support. Extending any kind of help will be fulfilling and rewarding. To my colleagues of this court and those in Delhi and Rajasthan High Court, many of whom I have known for more than a decade and some for 3 or 4 decades, as well as those who retired as Chief Justices I have worked with, thank you for the affection showered upon me. To the senior partners of my benches, of the benches I sat in, I express gratitude for the opportunities ungrudgingly provided to me. To the partners of the bench I was fortunate to head, thank you for all the support and cooperation. I will cherish fondly the memories of my tenure here and the camaraderie that I was fortunate to share with my colleagues and the bonds that have followed. I will also express gratitude to the officials, the Secretary General, the registrars and other members of the staff and the staff of the library who have given me tremendous support in this journey. Judges, in a sense, are visible faces of a process. The invisible part of this process is the unceasing support given by their office staff, the personal secretaries, the assistants, and other support persons. My special thanks to my PS, Pooja Chopra, and Ajit Kumar Nair, and all other members of the staff. I also thank my personal staff, including my chauffeur Neeraj and the previous one, Sumit. A special thanks to Ramesh, who has been my PSO for the last 18 years, and other PSOs, Mandeep and Mangat. Today I stand with the satisfaction that much was done. I am also conscious that a lot remains to be done. But I am sanguine with the thought that the legal profession is vibrant. I only wish that it upholds the values that informed it all these years, the values of independence, the importance of the rule of law, and the professionalism that is needed to face manifold challenges of the times and the future. My advice is be fearless, be true to yourself, don't try to be someone else, and constantly seek excellence. I will end this with the thought from the great jurist Cardozo. The future, the quote is like this: gentlemen, I'll amend it, ladies and gentlemen, is yours. We have been called to do our parts in an ageless process. Long after I am gone and my little part in it is forgotten, you will be here to do your share and carry on the torch forward. I know that the flame will burn bright where the torch is in your keeping. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Lordship, your words have always guided us, and you have been always accessible to the members of the bar. May I request Ms. Yugandhara Pawar Jha to read out the message given by Learned Attorney General for India. And thereafter, message given by the Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat. Please read out.
Thank you, Rohit. On Justice Ravindra Bhat, from the heart of humble Attorney General. For many of us who have lived with, watched, and journeyed along the 4 decades of the Supreme Court past emergency, the story of our journey is littered with indelible moments. We have been fortunate to be part of the unraveling of the People's Court dimension of the Supreme Court. We were both witnesses and participants. The bonds that were built in the bar were and are treasures of our life, and it's deeply in our biographies. Justice Bhat is a remarkable fellow traveler, and as time has slipped through our fingers, I find him tall in stature as a jurist, strong in hoisting the judicial independence, and equally a humane being who reached out to the corona migrants of Delhi in March 2020 by distributing food. I understand all the three qualities are connected by his sattvic nature. I'm fortunate to have been able to generate such a bond and togetherness with Justice Ravindra Bhat. We were, in a sense, called upon to closely watch the daily chronicles of the court and to pick up threads about it's what Justice Krishna Iyer used to call the third world remedial jurisprudence. The 80s of the Supreme Court had to respond to the echoes of emergency and the need for transformative nourishment of the court. The court, benched by honorable judges who have witnessed the freedom struggle and with a profound understanding of the multi-dimensional role of the court, became partners in good governance. As I took into the quiet but phenomenal judicial contribution of Justice Bhat in all the courts he has adorned, I must say, what a valiant and remarkable comprehension of the role of the court in current times. I say quiet, and that is not only true for his affable personality, ever smiling and ever leaving around him feelings of warmth and flowering, but also about how he went about his judicial work. His judgments, while in the Delhi High Court in the field of intellectual property rights in Roche versus Cipla, Bayer Corp versus Union of India, and Hindustan Unilever, were trend-setting or unsettling pieces of jurisprudence. I may think that what Justice Bhat quietly inhaled from his huge practice in Supreme Court as the intricacies of balancing social needs and interests became a part of his itching in the daily life as a judge. These pronouncements are to be celebrated as eventful as Donoghue versus Stevenson in tort law or Bandhua Mukti Morcha in the civil liberties law. Because we venerate our judges, and rightly so, we tend to slip writing about the connection between the life and the judgments of the writing about the life and the judgments of the judges. Maybe that is in order, but we need to debate the social impact of judicial pronouncements and how the ethical qualities of a judge marry with the pronouncements. Justice Bhat scores very high on this scale. I would be too glad to keep his photograph alongside my long-time mentor, Justice Krishna Iyer. I have many fond recollections of serious thoughts, sharing, light banter, and canting laughters. I fondly recollect his asking me to argue a matter of writings relating to the iconic and revered reformist saint Basaveshwar, and that took me to reading and continue to read his vachanas, which are poetic rendering of rare elegance. Who can doubt the grace and dignity that he brought to the court every day and the searching questions that kept all of us on intellectual run for the Dworkin right answer? The masterly analysis in the right and juristic maturity he has shown in the last testament he has given on 17th October as a member of the Constitution Bench contains idea and reasonings that will remain and influence our jurisprudence. I may not be wrong in calling him a learned hand of the East. My sincere apologies for my absence. That is my loss. I wish Meenakshi as much as I wish Justice Bhat for further higher journeys in life. Thank you, Kamini. A message from Justice Ravindra Bhat to the bar. To the members of Supreme Court Bar Association, my message is that you are special in many ways. As lawyers that argue first principles and represent clients in the forum of their last resort, your responsibility is immense. Your actions, whether through the creativity of your arguments or the professionalism with which you represent a litigant, shapes the growth of the law and protects the legitimacy of the institution. Upon you falls the task of assisting the highest court and ensuring justice to people. I am fortunate to be amongst those who joined as a hopeful entrant some 41 years ago with no background, a first-generation lawyer, and now ending my career on the bench of this highest court. I've had the most memorable moments in my career, both as an advocate and as a judge, in this very court. I owe a debt of gratitude to my seniors and all those who taught me through percept and example what commitment to rule of law means. This career, whatever success I have experienced, is owed in no small measure to the unwavering support and assistance from all of you, the various generations of this bar. I would urge the senior members of the bar to ensure that the young entrants and juniors are given a meaningful platform for professional growth, without which this bar would stand much to lose. To the younger members, I would advise you to keep your wits around you, Keep learning each day and hone your professional skills. Be courteous not only to the bench, but also to your colleagues and peers at the bar, from whom you will learn in unexpected ways. Be courteous, courageous, and fearless to speak your mind, because it is upon you that rests the responsibility of ensuring growth of the bar and the law. That what truly distinguishes this bar is its vibrant diversity, encompassing members from varied backgrounds, each bringing their unique perspective to the noble calling of the law, varying in age and experience. From vulnerable seniors who have spent their whole lifetimes, many more than 50 years experience, to enthusiastic juniors eager to pick up the nuances of the law with a hunger for knowledge, I hope the Supreme Court Bar Association continues to grow and reflect the plurality that symbolizes our country and its people. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuga. May I request Dr. Adis Agarwala, President SCBA and senior members of Executive Committee, Mr. Arjit Prasad, Mr. Jayant Bhushan, Mr. Ranjit Thomas, Mr. Dinesh Goswami, Mr. Narendra Hooda, Mr. Wasim Kadri, to present a memento on behalf of the bar to Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat. Vikas? Now, may I request Mr. Minesh Dubey, Joint Secretary SCBA, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rohit. We are grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, for accepting our invitation to preside over the function. We are grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, Honorable Judge Supreme Court of India, for accepting our invitation. We are also grateful to Madam Mrs. Lalit Mohini Bhat, wife of Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, Judge Supreme Court of India, and other family members for accepting our invitation. I wish Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhat, Judge Supreme Court of India, a very happy, healthy, and enjoyable life ahead. We are grateful to Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court of India, Justice Sri V. Rama Subramanian and Justice Sri Ajay Rastogi, retired judges of the Supreme Court of India, for gracing this occasion. I am also thankful to Dr. Justice Muralidhar, retired Chief Justice of Orissa High Court, for gracing the occasion. We are grateful to Sri Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India, Learned Law Officers, Sri Atul M. Kurekar, Learned Secretary General, and other registrars of the Supreme Court. We are grateful to Sri Manoj Mishra, President SCORA, and other office bearers of the SCORA for gracing the occasion. I am grateful to President, Secretaries, and other office bearers of the different bar association and other distinguished guests, members of the bar, and press and electronic media persons for the gracing the occasion. I am also thankful to members of the bar who are watching online. I wish to thank SCBA staff and registry staff for their cooperation for making this function a success. I request the EC members to come on dais for photograph.
Kindly join us for high tea.
बस अभी गाड़ी में रखवा रहा है
घर सजाने के लिए,
चाचू के लिए, मेहमानों के लिए।
इतना सामान सिर्फ इतने में?
हैप्पी दिवाली सबके लिए।
जो भी हो रीजन आने का, मन होगा सब ले जाने का। मिस्टर DIY।